All right, welcome. We're so glad that you guys have joined us tonight. We are so excited to be on the halftime show, right? We are halfway through our Active Steps Challenge, my friends, and we are excited to just like keep you going. You know, sometimes when you start something new, it really helps to get into the community and to have other people who are doing it along with you. And we are just having so much fun raising awareness and donations for the American Heart Association. So I wanted to update you on how you guys are doing. Some of you on here are participating in the Active Steps Challenge, and others, maybe this is the first time you're hearing about it. So that's okay either way. But the American Heart Association is celebrating 100-year anniversary this month. This February 2024. Isn't that crazy? 100 years trying to help with heart disease and just getting our people a little healthier. So I wanted to report in on some of the progress that you guys have been making. So after just week one, I don't have the full stats for week two, even those are still coming in until today and tomorrow and through the weekend. But just after week one, you've walked 35 million steps, over 35 million steps. That's 18,000 miles. That's pretty dang cool. That's like if you walked 3/4 the way around the entire earth.
Yeah, that's like a good relay race, right? Like I grew up in the Northwest in Portland, Oregon, and there's a huge relay race every year called the Hood to Coast. And people will just do little segments of that, and they have their whole team, Ragnar races, stuff like that, where they just run their sections. Like, look at what a good Ragnar or Hood to Coast team we are right now.
Yeah, for sure. And it is totally free to participate in the Active Steps Challenge, but we also accept donations, and every single penny goes directly to the American Heart Association at the end. Some of you have donated directly at heart.org. That's great. We love it. Others, it's just easier to just Venmo. So you can also do the group donation on Venmo or PayPal. And we've already raised over $6,600. You guys, that's amazing. So proud of you. So, okay, we are ready to dive into our webinar. So I want to introduce my friend and fellow certified coach, Jan. So Jan, take it away. We'd love for you to kick off the webinar.
Awesome. Thank you, Amber and Jared. So excited to be here with all of you tonight. And boy, I am loving the Steps Challenge. It has been fantastic for me to be more aware of what I'm doing, what I'm not doing, and to really prioritize time in my day to make sure I'm getting my body moving and taking good care of it, especially during the winter months. So I'm here in Utah and it's chilly outside. It's harder to get out and do stuff. So I'm doing it in the house, and it's been really fun so far. So I'm excited to talk a little bit tonight about my story. It's just 14 years. I just passed my health anniversary of being part of Optavia, and it has been a most fantastic journey as I've learned how to take better care of my amazing body. Everybody has such an amazing gift with their amazing body. It's like so incredibly amazing. And we're going to talk a little bit about that. But the thing that I found for me that has been the most amazing thing has been what I've done up here with my mind. Because what I do with my mind translates into what happens with my body. And it has been pivotal for me. So now I will share some stats with you about our amazing body that you may or may not have ever heard of. So let's talk about this. A nerve cell can transmit 1,000 nerve impulses per second. That's amazing. 50 million of the cells of your body will have died and been replaced while you read this sentence. 50 million cells just died and are being replaced while you read that sentence. Our heart beats 40 million times per year. Dang. 2/3 of the human body is water. Our kidneys clean over 1 million gallons of blood in a lifetime. dang, those kidneys. Every time you go to the bathroom, just say to yourself, hooray for healthy kidneys, right? There are a whole lot of people out there that don't have healthy kidneys that would give anything if they did. So just remember when you think, oh, I hate having to get up and go to the bathroom. I hate having to go to the bathroom when we're hydrating. Just remember how lucky you are to have healthy kidneys. Okay, how about this? Both our lungs and our small intestines have a surface area roughly the size of a tennis court. Can you imagine? That's all packed inside of you so nicely. Wow. Capillaries are so small and tiny that red blood cells have to go through them in single file. Just one cell at a time to oxygenate the tissues. It's crazy. When we touch something, we send a message back to our brain at 124 miles per hour. That's 181.8 feet per second. Unbelievable. What a gift that we all have. And this is something I want to ask you guys. Put a yes in the chat if you were aware that your brain actually has 3 parts to it. Put a yes, or if you didn't realize that your brain had 3 parts to it, put a no. I'm just curious to see how many of us were aware that our brains had all these parts. Okay, good. So you get it. Most of you are saying yes, that you knew this. Okay, so we're going to just fine tune this down for you and help you understand better how to partner with your brain and its 3 parts so that you can make it work for you, right? So the 3 parts of our brain, the first part is our lizard brain. This is the part that's just the very basic part of life. It gives us signals. It's for autonomic or automatic functions of like breathing, moving, things like hunger, thirst, survival. This is where this comes from. It's just that base center of your brain. It's right at the bottom of your skull, right there, and that's your lizard brain. Then we move into the emotional brain. This is where you are caught up in that fight or flight mechanism of just go, go, go. It reminds me of that dog in Homeward Bound, Chance, you know, where he's like, I gotta eat, kibble, 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 kibble. If anyone's ever seen that, that's the Labrador brain. That's what it is. Just impulsive, just gotta go, right? No filter, no morals, whatever it needs, it's gonna do. And it's very loyal, and it's the seek the pleasure sensors, avoid pain. Our brain is wired to seek out threat and to seek out things that may cause harm or uncomfortableness. And we're wired to try to protect ourselves from uncomfortableness. So back in the day when we were threatened by all kinds of things, you know, predators and different things, it served us well. But now there's so many things out there that we perceive as a threat. We put ourselves in this space of fight or flight a lot, and that's chronic. That's chronic fatigue to the brain, and that is not healthy. So we want to learn how to navigate through that. There's no moral value here in the Labrador brain either. It just goes. Doesn't think, it just goes. Next, we have our human adult brain, which is the prefrontal cortex. It develops throughout our lives, and the prefrontal cortex doesn't actually mature until around 21 years of age, somewhere in there. Sometimes I wonder if it's not a little after that, some of my adult children, but that's when it's supposed to kind of mature. This is where your critical thinking comes in. The free will to choose. We all have agency to make choices. And I love that sometimes that means we choose the free won't. Like, what will we do and what won't we do, right? Discipline, conscious awareness, mindfulness. This is the brain that helps us make those great choices when we use Dr. Anderson's stop, challenge, and choose. For any of us who are part of the Optavia program, we are taught this from the very beginning. Stop, and then we breathe. We take a moment to breathe, center ourselves, and then we can challenge the situation that we're in, and weigh it out. Critical thinking takes place here. And then you make a choice. Does this choice serve me and take me to where I really want to go? Or does this choice sabotage me? So everything has to pass through this part of the brain. We have the choice whether to recognize it and act on it and use our consciousness to make a good choice. Sometimes we can dismiss it and it goes straight through to that limbic system that we make the choice. Whenever you find yourself justifying or rationalizing a choice, like making it okay when truly it isn't going to help you or serve you, that's when that hijack is happening and you're making that choice to not use this critical thinking part of your brain. So let's just look at this a little bit deeper. So you've probably heard this before. I've heard Jared speak of it before many times, but the first time I read this book, Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl, he was a survivor of concentration camps in Germany. He went through horrendous pain and suffering, but he always kept this intact. He knew that this part of his brain was something that nobody could take from him, and he could make a choice on how he chose to be with this awful situation that he was living through. And so what he said was, between stimulus and response, there is a space. And that space allows us to use this prefrontal part of our brain. So when you're in the lizard or the automatic center of your brain, like let's say that you are in the process of smelling or seeing food, your lizard brain, your stomach will be rumbling, you'll feel hunger pains, you'll feel that desire, that physical desire to eat. And then when you get to the Labrador or the emotional brain, it's like that dog, eat food now. I gotta have it. Who knows when I'll eat again? You start to feel that kind of that anxiousness, that angst, and gotta do it now. And then when you get to that human thinking brain, you stretch out that space, that space between the stimulus and response. It gets longer and you're able to think it through better. I have health goals. What do I really want for myself? I'm choosing not to justify. I'm choosing not to rationalize. And knowing that reality is that I'm really fine right now. Is it a true hunger? Is it an emotional hunger? Is there something else I could do to satisfy my needs right now instead of using food? These are all things that you can do with your brain to help you have a better result. And for those of us who have been part of the Win Zooms, we do a Win Zoom every day, which is part of our OptiVia program. It takes these principles and helps us to hear them over and over and over again. And what we found, there's studies done that teach that the brain, when it uses different parts of your brain and you hear and see and write and speak the information that you're learning over and over again, it can actually change these neural pathways in your brain. And even the affirmations that we use every day help to strengthen the prefrontal cortex so it has more power and you're able to see better results over time, and it becomes actually easier to get the result you want. So with that, I'm going to kick it over to Jared. He's got way more stuff to share. And so thank you guys for letting me be on with you tonight and share.
Awesome.
Great job,
Thanks,
Jan.
Jan. I love that. I just want to like click one more time. Look, stimulus and response close, far apart. Jan did such a great job of explaining that.
So good. And the interesting thing about this, I was having a conversation with my brother this afternoon, and sometimes we look at these three parts of our brain, and especially when we're trying to change habits, and we're like, oh, these dang three parts of my brain, right? And we kind of curse them, and they're like, how can I get better at this? But these three different parts of our brain they're incredibly valuable to us too, because they work in such a way, yeah, it requires consciousness to change some of those neural pathways.
Yeah. What if you had to think about breathing all the time or make your heart
Oh.
beat? Like,
But even so, this is the example. I don't even know what we were talking about, but he's got a 15-year-old daughter that he is teaching how to drive right now.
your brother?
Yeah, my brother
Okay.
has a 15-year-old daughter that he's teaching how to drive right now. And he's like pulling his hair out. He's like, I'm about to go crazy right now. He's like, if I still, could you imagine? Like, I'll be 50 in a couple of months. He's 51. And he's like, could you imagine being 50 years old and still having to think so consciously about everything you do in your car? He's like, I come to a stop sign, a stop light with her, and it's this whole ordeal. And he's like, and now it's just habit for us. Our brains have just created those neural pathways to reduce the amount of energy required.
That reminds me that so we have two cars. My daughter has a Subaru, and then I have a Mercedes SUV. And so my SUV, you put it in gear like it on the
on the tree.
yeah, so it's like by your steering wheel, you like flip it up. But on my daughter's car, that's like how the windshield wipers turn on. So it's like whenever I have to drive her car, I like turn on the windshield wipers, and I'm like, oh no, because it gets so automatic.
Or
right?
going through the car wash, you have to remember which car you're in to turn the windshield wipers off.
It's so true. So let's keep this going. Jan did such a great job explaining the three parts of our brain with this example. And let's keep talking about this, because those neural pathways that hold your habit, that we have dendrites that receive information to collect messages. They're little message collectors and kind of like little secretaries. And then you have the axon, which sends out the message. And then the electrical becomes chemical. When you just keep having those messages, your secretary keeps sending you those notes, and you go, oh, okay, this is something that we do a lot. And you get these grooves. I love this picture on the left. It's like, I don't know, we live in Utah where there tends to be snow. And after a big snowstorm, before they've plowed something, or this looks like out in a field or something, sometimes if there's already like grooves, that's where you drive. Especially if you don't have a Subaru like my daughter that's a champ in the snow. If you've got some, little Toyota something, I mean, you're hosed if you don't stay in those grooves, right? And that's the same as our habits. Our habits are the grooves in the road.
Now, I'm going to give you a warning here. These habits, these grooves in the road, they often show up in our lives like, that's just the way I am.
Yes.
They're identity statements. Oh, I'm a foodie. I just love to come home and relax.
Food's the only joy I have in life.
Right? It's all these things that they turn into who we identify as, and they're simply a neural pathway. We can change those things, and we can actually change who we are.
Yeah. Let's talk about cars, actually. We've been talking about cars a lot. This is kind of funny. I don't necessarily plan all that, but okay, so we got a different car several years back. It was called a
Chevy Traverse.
Couldn't remember. I just remember what it looked like. And so Jared comes home with this car, and I was like, what kind of car is that? And he's like, it's a Chevy Traverse. And I'm like, I have never in my life seen a Chevy Traverse on the road. Like literally, this is the only Chevy Traverse.
And it was the first year that Chevy came out with the Traverse. And within a week, Amber hated me.
I was like, everybody has a Chevy Traverse.
Why did you get me the same car that everybody else on the road has?
So many. But I would put forth that there probably wasn't a different amount of Chevy Traverses.
Not everybody went out and bought them that week.
No, just my brain was not set to notice them, right? Never noticed them in my life.
It's funny that Amber put a blue car on here because there's actually a theory called the red car theory, right? It is this, that if you were told, hey, go out and notice red cars, right? You're going to start noticing everything on the road that is red. It's like playing what was the bus game in when you're in elementary school and stuff, you look for the bus.
The slug bug?
No, well, there's a slug bug, and then there was one with the buses too.
Jared's a little
So,
older than
yeah.
I am, so sometimes.
I'm older than slug bugs. No, I'm not.
Sometimes the generational gap shows up. Okay, so what's happening is our brain has a filter, and it's called the reticular activating system. And when you choose to make conscious changes to either your thoughts, your emotions, actions, the reticular activating system will automatically start rejecting ideas that are new.
Because it doesn't have evidence yet.
Yeah. Like if someone came to me and was like, how many Chevy Traverses are on the road? Before I knew even what it was, I'd be like, I don't know, like 2. Because your brain doesn't have evidence yet. So we can use this to our advantage or a detriment, just like habits, to our advantage or a detriment, depending on how they serve us, right? So we want to build new roads. And when we start building those new roads, when we go out of the ruts that aren't serving us, and we reinforce the ruts that are serving us, the scenery starts to change. Here's an example that I'll give you. Some of you may have noticed this in the past, but has anybody on here seen this logo, FedEx? Probably you have. And I want you to put, okay, I'm going to give you a little assignment for the chat. Okay. After I tell you this of what to look for, I want you to put a 1 in the chat if you'd already noticed it. And I want you to put a 2 in the chat if you never noticed it before. There you
There's
go.
already people that know.
Here you go. Did you ever notice that there is an arrow in the FedEx logo?
Like
So
35,
put a 2
like
if you never.
35
saw it
years ago,
before.
I had a high school teacher that pointed this out, and all I can see now, every time I look at the FedEx logo, is the arrow.
I only see the arrow now. You can't unsee it. So there are things that after your reticular activating system has kicked in, you will never unsee it. That's what we want to do with awareness. This is what Jan was talking about with the awareness of what is happening. Okay. Because to Jared's point earlier, it's not necessarily you.
It's just a setting.
It's just a setting.
Yeah, and the way that we change settings is like anybody who has a Nest or an Ecobee or something like that, you just go and you turn the dial, right? So in order for us to turn the dial, there's some things that we can do. Stop, challenge, choose, right? And the challenge to me is one of the best ways. You have to create new filters.
Mm-hmm.
So when I started getting healthy a decade and a half ago and said, I really want to change, I started to ask myself a couple of questions. And this question, I asked myself this question all the time in life. And I'm not perfect. She'll smile and attest to it. But this is my question. Does this thought, does this decision in front of me, depending on which way I go, does it create more goodness in my physical health, my mental health, my emotional health, my spiritual health, my financial health, my relational health, whatever it is that I'm thinking about? So 15 years ago, when I needed to lose 50 pounds, I still had habits in place like, oh, I'm bored right now. I'm lonely. I'm anxious. I'm stressed. I'm whatever. I'm going to go to the pantry. I'm going to go to the fridge. I'm going to go through the drive-through, whatever. And when I was confronted with those situations, I would ask myself, okay, if I choose this thing right here, does it create more goodness for my health? No, it doesn't. That's not what I want. What would be a decision that would help me deal and emotionally manage in this moment better, that would serve my health in a better way?
Yeah. And ask yourself, are you acting like a thermometer or a thermostat? So a thermometer, you just put it in an environment, it's hot outside, you stick it out the window and then it goes up.
It's reactionary.
Or you bring it in or you put it in the freezer, it goes down, right? So it's affected by whatever environment you put it in. That's a thermometer, what it does. Or are you a thermostat? where you're setting it. You go, this is where I want to be.
You're the controller of it.
I'm in charge of this. If I go to the mother-in-law's house and she's throwing a fit and I'm not eating her cake or whatever, I go, well, that's on you. You know, are you totally affected by your environment, or are you that agent, that chooser?
Dr. Anderson on page 6 of the Life book has this fantastic quote, and he essentially says that one of the greatest things that we can understand in life is that our life path is not fixed, that we can become the dominant force, i.e. the thermostat.
Absolutely. And are you just leaving your thermostat on whatever setting that you had 10 years ago, 20 years ago, that was taught to you growing up by your MFPT training, mother, father, teacher, preacher? Or are you saying, I want a new setting? Because you can change that setting. That's the good news. Okay, so Jan gave you a tool, stop, challenge, choose. I'm going to give you another tool, meditation. And I know a lot of you are going, oh, meditation, I don't know about that. I want to give you some stats on meditation, okay? Did you know that fat leaves your body through your breath? It leaves your body in many ways. It can leave your body through, elimination, like going to the bathroom,
Waste, sweat, or breathing. 90% is through breathing.
90%.
Through an oxidation process, and then we breathe out the fat.
This is one huge reason that we breathe on our Win Zooms.
Yep.
Our client support Zooms. Stress reduction is a fun side effect of meditation. Do you ever feel like that you make better decisions when you're not stressed out?
Yeah.
How about ahead of time, we lower our stress on purpose because we're setting our own thermostat. It strengthens your willpower. It strengthens your prefrontal cortex ahead of time. We go to the gym to make sure our muscles are strong so that we can, in a pinch, we have strong muscles. We could do what we need to do. We do that for our brain through meditation, Win Zooms. And find your centered, non-triggered state. I love that.
I love this because most people, when they're trying to, when they're new at meditation, they think that the purpose is to be quiet and completely eliminate thought and just be in this peaceful situation.
Yeah.
That's not it. It's just to observe the thoughts and be, hey, isn't that interesting that that thought is coming in? And one of the things that I like to do in meditation is listen to sounds. The reason why is because you listen to how quickly a sound enters and how quickly it leaves, and then start to compare thoughts to sounds. How quickly thoughts will come in and how quickly they can be released.
Yeah, I just listen to the Calm app. Jared's a little more advanced than I am. Because I think a lot of us have this, like, what if I'm bad at it? Like, oh, I'm so bad at meditation. I can't quiet my mind. I'm not like a monk up on a mountain. I would put forth that you can't be bad at meditation, that it's just something you practice. It's something that you do. It's something that whatever happens is what happened.
And I would even challenge people to just experiment with different kinds of meditation.
Yeah, absolutely.
Guided, non-guided, eyes open, eyes closed, outside, inside.
Absolutely. And one of the biggest things I would say is just don't judge yourself. Like, just start. Just do something. What if you just sat down, on a pillow and just like took 10 breaths? Good job. You just did meditation and you were good. So here's me. And, when we first were introduced to Optavia, 15 years ago, our 15-year coach anniversary is in a couple weeks. And we weren't good at any of this stuff. Like, honestly, we were just like, I don't know. I kind of thought that just personal development was so hokey and trying to work on yourself, like, give me a break. And and what I found is that this was an amazing community of people who all care about each other. And it's just been like amazing, because for us, some of the reasons that we wanted to get involved were that we saw that our country was struggling. And I remember Dr. A was given a presentation, and maybe some of you remember this back in the day, but just like the different states, how they would report in on how obesity and health was going in their state, and how
You can still see these maps on the CDC website. Go to the obesity maps and it will give you just a running ticker every year. Now they do them every, I think 5 years.
yeah. And it wasn't getting better.
No.
Every year it was getting worse in our country. And, you know, I lost 35 pounds many, many years ago. And I knew how I felt. I felt so much better. I had more energy to be the kind of mom I wanted to be. I went from telling my kids to, I would teach them at age like 1 how to load a DVD into the DVD player that back in the day, right? Some of you remember DVDs. And I went from that to like, let's go to the park and I'll push you on the swings, and had more energy. I had more energy to be able to play volleyball better. And which brought me like such amazing relationships with amazing gals that are some of my best friends now, that if I hadn't gotten healthy, I probably would have never met. And so there's so many reasons why people want to get involved in the health of our country, in just being part of something bigger than themselves. And I love this quote by Martin Luther King Jr. Our lives begin to end the day we become silent about things that matter. And I remember seeing my mom get healthy, and she had struggled to be able to find something that worked for her. She had read so many books. She just really had been diligent, but hadn't quite been able to find something that worked. And when I saw her be able to get healthy, I was impressed that this program it really had something to it. And so people come just wanting to get involved in lots of different ways. Like my mom, she wanted to get healthier. She wanted to lower her body fat percentage. She wanted to take some of that extra stress and weight off of her knees and back. And I love that we have that turnkey program, that it simplifies life. We have the education to rewire, reset our brain. We have the WinZooms. We have those support daily. And we help people create those new neural pathways, to create those new grooves in the snow. And we focus on so many different aspects of health, where some will just focus on weight loss. We focus on holistic health in all of those different areas.
We also focus on building muscle. So much of the world is so concerned with losing weight.
Yeah.
It's so critical to lose the right kind of weight. There are so many dietary plans and medications and stuff out there where people are losing significant weight. And anywhere from 25 to over 50% of that weight loss is muscle loss. And people wonder why they gain the weight back even faster. I'll tell you, one of the things, like I've been coaching people for 15 years. And I will tell you from personal experience, it is way, way, way harder to sell and to share your passion about lifestyle change, accountability, personal responsibility than it is to just sell a plan or a drug or something like that. That's why people go there, right? So we focus on helping people change their lives, to increase their muscle. You know, like I was an athlete. I considered myself an athlete my whole life. And then all of a sudden, I'm 25 to 35 years old, and I don't feel like an athlete anymore. And 25 to 35 years old is not old.
No.
At all. I'm almost 50 now, and I'm in better shape now than I was when I was 25. I played in a basketball game with a bunch of 25-year-olds last night, and I got a dunk.
Nice.
And it's not about dunking a basketball or anything like that. But Amber talked a little bit about her and loading DVDs, teaching our kids to load their own DVDs. And now she's able to go out and participate. You know what? One of the biggest things for me in this whole process has been, I remember back a decade and a half ago and the stress and anxiety and overwhelm that I felt. And now I realize what it was from. It was from me letting myself down. I wasn't taking the personal responsibility. I was trying to take the easy road, and I wanted life to be easy, but I wasn't making any of the simple decisions and executing on eating good foods that made me feel good, exercising and keeping my body strong so that I could continue to play with my kids and compete with my kids. My goal right now is, like, I still play with my 17 to 23-year-old kids competitively, playing volleyball with them and stuff. Like, my intention right now is to be able to do that with my grandkids.
Absolutely. And you know, some people come to us because they need extra help. And maybe they are taking advantage of some of the medically supported weight loss. There's no shame in that.
No.
But what we want to do is make sure that we are helping people create muscle in the process, that we are helping people protect their body with proper nutrition and also getting that extra protein that they need. And, you know, some people come to us and they want to partner with LifeMD and Optavia. And we have clinicians as partners for people who really just need that extra boost, in addition to our education, our community, and our lifestyle programs.
Yep.
Or maybe you just want a community. Maybe you just want people who want to get healthy, just like you, who want to improve their health long term. And we've mentioned this. I mean, I think that's the word of the night is win Zooms, right?
Yeah.
The phrase of the night. But we do that meditation. We do those affirmations. We do that breathing. And maybe you've attended and you're like, why do we do that? That's so weird. It's not weird, you guys. It's like, it's proven. Like, we do things that are proven. We have webinars like this where people can get together and they could learn more, because some people, maybe you don't learn as well on your own reading a book. Maybe having extra support with a webinar is helpful for you, or community events in person. So maybe that's one thing that attracts people to us, is our community.
So another reason that people join us is because they want to help others.
Yeah.
Right? When I lost 55 pounds total, I had lost 20 on my own. I still had 35 to go. But in the process, Stephen Covey said it this way: the most comprehensive way to learn anything is to teach it. I knew that I wanted to really, really learn how to stay healthy.
Yeah.
Optavia did a study for a 6-year study years and years ago. They followed coaches for 6 years, and they found that coaches were 500% more likely to reach and maintain a healthy weight. For me, I don't know all the reasons for that, but I'll tell you one reason that I know for certain. It's because coaches stay more engaged with the community.
That's true.
They stay more engaged with the life book and the habits of health materials.
They show up.
Yeah, they're constantly in conversations about improving mindset towards health in all of the areas of health in our life.
Yeah.
Purpose driven. I heard this great talk by a monk a few months ago, and he said, purpose. He talked about the reasons that we do things, and he's like, but if you want to create purpose, purpose comes from learning something and then teaching it or sharing it with other people so that they could perhaps reduce or eliminate the amount of suffering that they will experience in their life.
I love that. Let's bring it back to the 3-part brain though. Let's like full circle.
Yeah.
Because some people are like, oh no, I couldn't be a health coach. I couldn't help somebody. Like the lizard brain's like, I don't need this to survive. Like, screw.
I just need to breathe.
That's right. I just need to breathe and make sure I got food. And the Labrador's like, this is scary. I'm too shy. What if I offend someone? I'm just going to play dead.
Or put my tail between my legs and run away.
That's right. That's right. But our human brain, you know, when you stop telling Jews to go, okay, I mean, maybe I can get outside my comfort zone to help a friend.
Yeah.
Like, maybe this would help me to stay on my path, my health path a little bit better. Maybe I can do something that I could be my own thermostat and set it where I want, right? Or some people, they just want to get active. They want to, like, it's cold in February in a lot of places. It is here. And I will tell you what, having the Active Steps Challenge has gotten me outside.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever been like an outside walker in February until this challenge. Like whenever I, come up with a challenge, it's usually something that I want to work on. That's like a clue. I'm like, I'm working on this, you guys. So we want to, or you just want to raise awareness for American Heart Association. Maybe that's what pulled on your heartstrings. But there's a lot of different reasons why people become just like drawn to us, to our Optavia community. So no matter your goal, I encourage you, schedule a health assessment with the coach that invited you to this webinar or who is sending you this playback. And
So what's a health assessment?
true.
Right? Some people are like, well, wait, what's that? I don't want to overcommit. A health assessment is just a conversation where we get to talk to you about what your goals are, what you would like to see happen in all the areas of health in your life.
Yeah.
And we can offer some experience and say, well, I think that we can help you with that.
Absolutely. And, no matter what your goal is, I feel like that there's something for everyone with our community. And so one thing I want to thank you for is showing up for yourself, saying, you know what? I want to improve myself in some way. I want to get better, or I just want to strengthen what I'm already doing. And so I just want you to know that I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you for showing up for you tonight. And, share this with someone else. Share it with a friend, a family member, a spouse, and say, you know what? This is like assumptive, but I like this webinar and I'm just sharing it with all my friends and family. But we're really glad that you've been here, and keep stepping, you guys. Keep active the rest of the month and after that for sure. And keep getting the word out. It's not too late to post about the Active Steps Challenge or to just invite a friend. I challenge you is the next person you are having a conversation with, tell them what you're doing. I'm doing an Active Steps Challenge right now. It's pretty cool. And invite them. If you want to join, you can still join. Do you have a way to track your steps? That's one thing I ask everyone. Do you have a way? Do you track your steps? And if they say yes, you should join the challenge. And if they say no, you should join the challenge. It'll get you tracking. So anyway, you guys, thank you so much for joining tonight. It's so fun hanging out with you. And we will see you in the group.
Yep.
Active Steps Challenge group. Bye, guys.